Man, it's been a minute, right? Peace and blessings. What's good? This is your boy 7 Inglewood's on right now in your zone. And this is still the Blackman Show, Society Breakdown. Still with a little bit of 7 cents, but now just a little bit more focused. But with that said, let's go ahead and run that intro. Thank you for joining. First and foremost, I appreciate y'all welcoming your boy back and rolling with me and seeing just seeing what we got going on over here, right? So I have been getting hit up quite a bit on Snoop joining the inauguration and all that goodness in regard to Trump and the presidency and his inauguration and all that stuff. So I think he DJ'd a party, and I think he actually performed for the president at some time thereafter, and people were just like, oh man, don't you remember when he said some years ago about how in President Trump's first iteration in presidency 1.0, he said something along the lines of, if anybody was going to sing for the president or step in and do some stepping fetching it for the president, then they was just an Uncle Tom sellout, and he couldn't wait to call them out. And now, fast forward to 2025, and who was front and center, singing and dancing, and getting it in for the president? You know what I'm saying? Like, who? So that was the hypocrisy, and that's what it is we're talking about today, right? So my take on it is this: I honestly don't have the energy to dedicate to a Snoop Doggy Dog and whatever he decides to do or not do in terms of anything that isn't music. And I'm not saying that because people don't have different lanes that they're good in other than the one that they're known for. I'm saying it because when it comes to somebody who has only been an entertainer for a good majority of their career, they pretty much said, at least to me, the way I kind of see it is, when you're an entertainer, you're already saying, hey, I'll do something for one of two reasons: attention or money. Now, sure, you have a talent, absolutely. People have talent, so yeah, you want to exploit the talent and do so by getting more attention, which hopefully will lead to more dollars. So I understand the formula, absolutely understand that. However, where I kind of run into an issue or where I start to question things is when those same people are suddenly being looked at as a beacon of hope or a place of purity. Like there's this celebrity purity that takes place with some celebs where it's like it seems like because we see them often or because we're familiar with their product, music, acting, whatever, because we're familiar with what they bring, we take that to think we know them or we know that person, we know what they come from. And even if they look like us, we even more so start to feel like, oh man, you came from where I come from, you do the things that I do, you saying some of the stuff that I say, man, yeah, you gotta be, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. But I would temper that personally. And I would encourage others. I would encourage y'all to temper that expectation that just because somebody has said some things that you agree with on their own volition, truly. So, but just because someone says something of their own volition that you agree with doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with everything that they have to say. Let me pull this back and give you a little bit of perspective, right? Let's just say somebody was just walking down your street and they said, hey, you in the random house that I'm standing at whose door I'm standing at, right? Hey, you, I need you to tell me some salacious secrets about your neighbor next door. Well, nothing too big, nothing too bad. But if they beat their kids or if they, have cheated on their spouse or something like that, or if you've seen some things, can you give me some information? Most people would be like, man, I ain't worried about my neighbor. Nah, who is you? I ain't, nah. Now let that person say, hey, I'll give you $100,000 if you do that. A lot of people will be like, nah, I don't know. 500,000, $1 million. What's your number? And I'm saying this to say, for some people, and not for all people, and I'm glad that because I think I'm in the minority here, but I don't know. I've never been offered tons of money to do something that I know good and damn well otherwise I wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, in this scenario, if somebody were to do that and offer that amount to you, or offer that amount to someone, there's a lot of people who would be like, man, I'd do more for less. I'm hurting that much, or I need money that much, or I just like money that much, or I'm seeking it that much. Whatever the goal is, they understand that money is the ultimate goal to get at, and all this other stuff is just a means by which to do it. Now, some of us would be like, oh man, I could never, and then when the money's sitting right in front of them, they're like, oh, what was I saying? They do that whole thing. But and I think when it comes to somebody like Snoop, he was offered some money, and he yeah, okay, he was standing on, or in some cases it may have seemed like he was standing on the side of the people, right? May have seemed like he was saying some things that, like, okay, man, somebody stands for Trump 1.0. Yeah, that is BS. You shouldn't do that. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all that. But now we've come to this new iteration, and we see that that's not necessarily the same thing. And so, to the point that now he's standing on the opposite side of whatever this is, right? And I think what really gets people upset, like when I'm thinking about this and just kind of taking this all in, what I think gets a lot of people upset is maybe several things. One, it could be the fact that you're just like, man, I thought you was with us, and how dare you, now you're over there with them. I absolutely can see that. Two, man, he got opportunities that I didn't get. And then, there's the utopian of us who will be like, oh, well, I wouldn't have done that if I were offered blah, 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 blah. You don't know, because you ain't never been offered that. So let's not talk about stuff that you ain't really sure about, especially when you know good and damn well, if you was offered something, you may. I'm not saying you will. I know I won't. I know there's certain things I just won't do regardless of how much money you put in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Certain things, not, but you know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of people who are like, hey, what is the thing? What are we talking about? So it could be along those lines. But I think another thing that got people upset is, damn, now we know your price. I think that's what, like, when you really look at it, I think that's what really affects people and has people upset. They're like, damn, this was, they did X, Y, and Z, and they were so blah, 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 and I felt like, ooh, wop, bam. Now I know what their price is. I know what their price is to get them to do whatever I want. Maybe not me personally, but as the public, we know they have a price. And I think, like, okay, now if we take a further step back from this, and I'm letting you know, I do digress a little bit sometimes in conversation. So if I do, and I go off too far, man, y'all let me know in the comments. But hey, Seven, bring it back. You're going too far off the reservation. But I think what has people upset, or if we look at this in a larger sense, I'll say, if we look at this in a larger sense, there are a lot of women or a lot of people who are on OnlyFans. And I think when we see people who are, it's not so much the fact that people are on. I think that's in and of itself, that's its own thing. But I think then when you realize, damn, this is what you're doing for money, that's when it's like, man, I just feel like this needs to be said, because, I mean, I am a man from Chicago, even though I'm here in Kansas City, and shout out to the team that's doing the thing right now, whatever. But I'm a Bears fan, you dig? And while the Bears, and I'm happy for the Bears, they got a new coach and all that, but they got a coach from a team that's within their own division. So they got an offensive coordinator from a team that was doing really well. And it seems like that defensive coordinator may be leaving. Also, it's a different story. But so that offensive coordinator has left that team to be our head coach. And some people are looking at it like, man, this is supposed to be, you're supposed to be aligned with that team. You're not aligned with this team over here? Man, how dare you leave that team in a lower position for this team next door with a higher position and higher money? How dare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, people were doing that. People would get upset when Mike McCarthy, who, recently was a coach of the Cowboys, but is most well known for being the Packers head coach when they won the Super Bowl last with Aaron Rodgers. So it's like, and people were upset about that. People were mad about the fact that even McCarthy was being considered for the position. Because they're like, no, Packers, how dare you? This is Packers. Man, look, this is all entertainment. It's just entertainment. It's just entertainment. Because at day's end, the teams are going to still feel however they feel and all that stuff. But the players might actually get along. I mean, hell, we seeing that in the NBA right now. I mean, I grew up at a time when, somebody from the Knicks wouldn't even dare think about playing for the Bulls, and or somebody from the Bulls wouldn't dare playing for the Pistons. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I grew up, and now it's like the get along game since Brian did the announcement or whatever the hell it was called. I don't care. Since he did that shit, so since he did that, everybody's like, okay, everybody's in the get along game. We all friends now. We're friends, and we as the people are sitting there like, wait, I thought we hated that guy. I thought we didn't like that guy. You know what I'm saying? People aren't realizing this is just entertainment. This isn't real. This isn't real life. This has no effect. This has no bearing on your life. This doesn't make you a CEO tomorrow. It doesn't make you lose your job tomorrow. This has nothing to do with you. Politics absolutely has something to do with you, and we need to be paying more attention to things like that. And I think that's what people have when it comes to somebody that they like Snoop or Rick Ross or Nelly or Soulja Boy. You know what I'm saying? But when you're looking at any of these guys, they're all entertainers. They're just entertainers. They're not leaders. What if they led? Let me say this. So before we got to the point where everybody's mad at Snoop and all this stuff, wasn't everybody happy that he was the mascot for the United States? Oh, look at him at the Olympics. He was just doing this and that. Oh, man, he did a thing with Kevin Hart doing the Olympic reviews. Man, those reviews is crazy. He's funny as ever. Oh, this is hilarious. I love it. Weren't we doing all of that? So, but at the same time, when at any time in any of that was he like standing for the people? He was being a mascot. Honestly, that's what he was doing. He was being a mascot. Put on the suit and the fur and the head, and he was Snoopy. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't Calvin. He was Snoopy. So he was out there being Snoopy. And that's what he was doing. He was putting on the act so he could get his check. But I don't think at any point prior to the Olympics of last year or the inauguration of this year that he made any sort of stance that made people feel like, oh yeah, he's for the people. And I mean a stance, not a statement. Statements are, people can say whatever the hell they want to say. But when it comes to stances, that's a whole different thing. I mean, take for example, the recent funeral of Jimmy Carter, right? When we saw President Obama come in and he was sitting there chumming up with President Trump, a lot of people were sitting there like, well, what the hell is this? Because we thought your stance, like where you actually stand, was over there. And we thought the other guy, where you stand, was over there. So why are y'all sitting here looking like this? You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. Now, and then take it a little bit further. Then George W. Bush came in. When he came in, he looked like, oh wait, ain't no Michelle here? I ain't talking to Obama. Fuck that dude. Like, that's like real. It looked like he didn't even interact with him the entire funeral. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was just saying from the clips I've seen, there was very little interaction between the Obama and Bush camp. That's all I'm saying. And I think that's because from the people's perspective, I can understand them being upset because they're like, man, your stance is here, your stance is here. And we were fighting each other trying to say, well, my stance is better. My stance is better. And now we're seeing that y'all getting along. Well, what was we fighting for? See what I'm saying? I think that's what people aren't understanding when it comes to the Snoop thing. Like, there's politics and then there's entertainment. Politics in general, there's a side. There is a side. There's an actual side. Hey, we do this and this and this over here. And there's another side saying we do this and this and this over here. Then it's up to the public, the American people, to say, hey, what are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? You know what? I think I'm a line over here. Or I'm a line, whatever. So that's how it's supposed to work. But entertainment? We're talking about entertainment, baby. I mean, yeah. You like certain entertainers. You like certain people, and you want them to be on your side. You want them to say the things you like. But, man, I mean, there's all kinds of examples of entertainers who have seemed like they were doing one thing, and all of a sudden it seemed like, well, maybe not so much because the money's better somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is no different. So I think when it comes to Snoop, he's just going where the money resides. You know what I'm saying? He's just going where the money is, because let's just say, even if he was standing with the people, he's like, yeah, I'm with y'all with it and all that stuff. I also just put out an album. Did y'all buy it? No? Ain't nobody? I know I'm in my 40s, 50s, but ain't nobody. I know I put out a rap album. Yeah. Ain't nobody? None of y'all buy mine? Okay, well, you know what? They paying me over there, so I'm gonna go over there, and I'm gonna go over. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it seems like. But I have to temper all sorts of expectations of entertainers with what was said by Malcolm X, and I know I'm gonna horribly paraphrase this, but basically he said, look at any people of substance, look at any people who mean something, who are fighting for something, and tell me, do they have entertainers and athletes as their leaders? Do they? Like, is there an entertainer or athlete led coalition out there that's like fighting in Hezbollah or ISIS or like any of them dudes was like, oh yeah, I got a dope Euro step, but right now Hezbollah. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that happening? You know what I'm saying? Now, I get it. I think in Ukraine, that's like one of the only guys who was like I think Zelensky was a Jon Stewart type of commentator or something like that, reality, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all let me know. But I believe he was some sort of commentator like that, like a comedic commentator, and he ended up being a president. Now, in that sense, I ain't gonna lie. I would rather have somebody like a Jon Stewart be our president than Snooki. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but in general, you don't see a lot of organizations or a lot of organized movements that are really trying to fight for something that have athletes at the forefront. That is it hate? Is it jealousy? Like, y'all gotta let me know what it is, because to me it doesn't make any sense, especially when I know that there are quite a few of us who would probably do the same if we had that same opportunity. You know what I mean? And then on the other side, let's say Snoop was gonna be like, yeah, I'll take your money, but I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna flip it, and when I do the show, I'm gonna snap and I'm gonna say something crazy, and president ain't this, and the government and the world and America, blah blah blah, and then he's gone the next day, because we've seen that too. And I don't mean this far, I don't mean like on the side of the game, but I just mean like on the, you know what I'm saying, like Jesse Williams. I believe that's the actor's name. Jesse Williams, dude, used to be on ER, had whatever colored eyes, mixed dude. I think he was married to a sister for a minute, and then he did the Emmys, made this huge stance. We ain't seen that dude since. Like, it's great to be in a position of, hey, everybody's eyes are on me, I better say something. But at the same time, sometimes you got to watch what you say, because you know, when people make stances and really stand on it, sometimes that stuff can backfire. And then what happens to that stance? Then the stance is gone, the person is gone, and the people who were supporting them, they Homer Simpson back on into the bushes, because they don't want that smoke for real. They wanted somebody to be the figurehead so they could be like, yeah, go. Tell them what we want to tell them. Say the stuff. Say it. Yeah. Tell them what we were saying. Yeah. They want to do that, but they don't want, like, people don't want to be on the forefront, but they want I don't know. I don't know what they want, and it's really unfortunate because we've seen that happen to Jesse Williams when he speaks on and stands on things. We've seen Kyrie Irving when he stood on things. When we've seen Kanye West when he stood. Like when people stand on things, sometimes it's to their own detriment. And if they fight in the power, and then Snoop wants to fight. Let's just say Snoop was on some PE. Let me fight the power type stuff. Again, he's Snoop. He ain't like got a crew with him. I mean, man, yeah, you think the LBC gonna ride all the way to DC for him? I'm just saying, because they still got to go through the FAA to get there. It's a whole lot of letters, but I'm saying like they still got to go through the FAA, and the FAA is controlled by the people in DC. So if it's really like that, how you getting that? I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point because I just don't know what the expectation honestly would have been other than him doing entertainment. And as far as that whole everybody's mad at everybody's okay with Rick Ross, Soulja Boy, Nelly, and Snoop performing for the inauguration, but y'all was so mad at Chrisette Michele last time. I think in my opinion, I don't think it's a man versus woman thing, even though that's obvious to see on the surface. But I think if you look at it deeper, these are two different points of perspective also in their careers. Whereas, so again, entertainers are always doing things to get one of two things: attention, money. That's what they're doing it for. I mean, hell, what do you do what you do for? Attention or money, one of the two. And most likely for money, because that's why you do what you do, whatever that thing is. But so while you have Rick Ross, Soulja Boy, Nelly, they're all on the declines. Let's say Nelly's on the decline. They had it since 2012. Rick Ross is on the decline. And Nelly just sold didn't he just sell his whole catalog for like 50 mil or something like that? And he got a baby on the way, or did he have the baby on? I think he had the baby. Whatever. He's just sold his whole thing for 50 mil. That man's trying to make sure he got money for Infamil, Pediasure, and child support when they break up. But I digress. But then Snoop, again, he just put out an album, but come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you was just out there mascotting, and now you're going to come out. Like, you was just out there being the Masked Singer, and now you're going to be like, oh, but I got some new music y'all should check out. I mean, I'm sure people are going to ride with it. Don't get me wrong. You still Snoop, and you still got Dre beats. So, hey, that still holds a lot of weight in these hip-hop streets. However, space, I just think that when we're looking at the whole of it, we're not going to say like, oh, this is probably some of Snoop's best work or whatever, when looking at the catalog of what he's done to this point, right? So these are all men who are on the down, like clearly the downside of their careers. Chrisette Michele was on the upswing. Like, so it's more like the guys were doing the thing like, hey, oh, is that where the limelight is? Is that where the attention is? Okay, hey, I'm going over there. I'm going where the attention is. Because they were like, I ain't had none in a while. Y'all got any more of that attention, man? I need some. I need some of that attention, baby. Y'all get any more attention? Where the attention at? You know what I'm saying? Like, on that. Whereas Chrisette Michele was like, I hear that they have, there's some limelight. Oh, is it over there? Just go where the limelight is, wherever it is. Like, because there wasn't a lot of it that was already on her to say, hey, maybe not this time, maybe not this, maybe not that. And I think, to me, that makes, at least the way I'm looking at it, that's the way I would look at it more so than, she's just a sellout and let's just ostracize her or whatever. And I think that's the mindset, or that's the reason for the vitriol in one camp versus the other camp. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so just to recap, celebrities are not or should not be your leaders. And if they are, make sure you're looking around to see if there's some other people who are also supporting them, who are not as famous, but much more impactful, because more than likely those are the people that you really want to align with. As a matter of fact, in most cases, the person who is not supported, not largely supported, but makes the most sense, usually is the one that you really want to get behind. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking back to when somebody like Ice Cube had that the contract for Black America, And it was like a 10-point document talking about the things to help Black America get on and all that. Democrats wouldn't even listen to it. Republicans did, or at least they gave him an audience. But who ate him up more than anybody? Us, our people. Our people did. It's like, why are our own people eating up Ice Cube and he's trying to do something for the people? He's like, who else has something or is doing something to that extent or to that level? Who else? Now, I get it, sure. And if Snoop had done it, that would have been great too. My point in this is saying, hey, just because they're doing something, see the people who are also around them in support. When Ice Cube was doing this thing, one of the major economists he had one was Dr. Claude Anderson. And if you were Black and then you probably know about Dr. Claude Anderson. So it wasn't just Ice Cube said, let me write something in my notebook and now let me send it to the president. No, this was real work that was done behind the scenes, whereas Snoop was crip walking in Paris. I'm just saying, didn't we have a song, Kanye, about that? I could have swore. I'm just saying. Ball so hard. So yeah, celebrities are not your leaders. In most cases, they are capitalists. Check the people around them. Oh, and speaking of being a capitalist, let's not forget, after the Trump inauguration and all that, there was a minister, a Black minister by the name of, I think it was Lowell, something like that, minister, whatever. It ended in W-L, but he was not well. Didn't seem well. Hair didn't look good. Gave instant sellout vibes. Anyway, I think it was his attendance that did that. Getting to the point, dude had did the benediction and talked about, had some callbacks to, Dr. Martin Luther King, since it was on MLK Day. And he was, talking about mountaintops and children and future and all that stuff. And okay, cool. But then right after that, again, the attention's on me. Ooh, I better say something. And now I got your attention. The Lord has told me that I need to launch this coin to get my people's money. like that's all it is to it. Is this what they doing that grifting at? Bet. I'm on that. Because this minister minister thing that the Lord called me to, praise the Lord, is not paying like that grifting game that I see y'all doing. Man, so Trump just launched a coin and made billion. Oh, well then I'm gonna launch a coin and I'm gonna make me some money because the Lord, again, so celebrities are capitalists. They're not your leaders. And if they are in a position of leadership, check who's around them. You know what I'm saying? And if you're really looking for somebody to speak to the things that you're feeling, hurting, or what have you, if you can't find them locally, then that means that it must be you. You have to be that person. And how impassioned do you feel about that? And when you do that, understand what it takes to be that. We've seen examples of somebody like a Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King. We've seen what happens to them when people actually stand on business and are fighting for things that are bigger than them, more powerful than them, and fighting entities that are much more powerful than them. So, and I think a lot of that assassination stuff that the government has put their hands into has been also a warning to the rest of us to say, okay. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the show. And if you can, let me know what was the biggest flip-flop from a celebrity that you can think of. I can think of a couple where I can think of a couple. I'd love to discuss it with y'all in the comments now, in the comment section. But yeah, let me know what was the biggest flip-flop you've ever seen from a celebrity. And and here's another one. What was the biggest or worst penalty you've seen a celebrity take for standing on business? With that, I'm gonna leave it up to y'all to discuss what your thoughts are in those comments down below. But this has been your boy 7, and this is the Black Man Show, Society Breakdown. So holla at me on all the socials, the whatever. You'll find me at find it either Show the Black Man or The Black Man Show. I'm going to make a new one that just says Society Breakdown. So if you want to wait for that, that's fine. But you can find me on all the platforms under The Black Man Show, because that's what this still is. And this has been your boy 7 Black Man. Peace. And I'm out.